Good afternoon, sir. So, there's quite a large turnout at your ward today. Today is a much anticipated local government election. How do you feel about this?
Well, first of all, I must have to thank God Almighty that today, 30th of August, is scheduled to be the local government elections in the last state. And again, I want to thank RUSEC for carrying out a very successful conduct of the government election. Let me make it clear that this is a local government election. And I expect particularly the media to have done their homework very well. In doing where there are residential areas, in doing where there are commercial areas. When you go to commercial areas, you don't expect much a large turnout of people. But when you go to high residential areas, of course, you expect people to turn up, particularly as I'm here now, this is my community. I can see the turnout of people in this particular unit. So also it is in other units. But if you go to where you have commercial areas, you don't expect much. Go to the rural area because it's local government area. More participation is taken in the rural area because of councillorship position. And some most people are also not in this university. They feel that we are doing these things for not having a truth represented by having their own people contesting the election. So I'm very happy with the turnouts of people. I've got a lot of reports from the rural areas that people came out very well to participate in this election. So I'm very happy.
All right. So there are concerns whether this time around it has been gotten right, because from my interaction with Rivers people, they are concerned that the last time there was an election, it was cancelled eventually. What is your hope? What's that hope you have that will happen after here?
There was no election. The Supreme Court said there was no election. They nullified the election. I said there was no election. There was no election. Today we are holding election, and that's why you see people have come back to also cast their votes. If you do something that is not done to law, of course it will be set aside, and it was set aside. And now that the process is very clear and goes according to the law, nobody's worried. All people are doing is just to come out and cast their vote for whoever they want them to represent them at the local government level.
All right, Your Excellency, the local government election, of course, would ultimately restore democratic governance, at the local level. And of course, tell us what this will mean for Rivers people. Of course, the state of emergency would lapse by September. So what does this mean for Rivers people?
And that is why we have to thank Mr. President for taking the bold step to make sure that this election is conducted. First of all, if election is not conducted, you know that Supreme Court has said there's nothing like caretaker committees in local government. And if there are no elected people, it means that funds will not come from the federation account to local government councils. And that means that if the emergency rule is lifted as a local government election, we'll still have the same problem. And now that local government election is taking place, it means that they've elected people, and then they will get funds directly for the federation account. So everybody was trying out to support the conduct of this particular election. They wanted to stabilize the grassroots level. By the time the state of emergency is lifted on the 18th of September, it means that the governor and the state assembly will go back. So without local government, it will not have been complete. So we are very glad that today we are conducting this election, and by the end of the day, elected people will emerge and they will be sworn in, and then we will not have elected representatives at the grassroots level.
Thank you.